webinar team and to all the principals across the state, teachers and dear students. I welcome you all for the prestigious webinars of TSMS family. See, I'm privileged to be here as a part of this Telangana State Model School family to share my experiences with you regarding the chemistry part of intermediate first year. Dear children, do you know that when you are in your SSC, that all your formative assessments, summative assessments, your unit test and everything counts for your final results? No. See, you don't know about all these things. You don't know that a pandemic will come and one academic year, so you'll be losing that. You don't know about all those things, but you worked hard for the entire academic year, isn't it? See, that work, what you have done for your entire academic year when you are in your 10th class, see, it has counted you to get wonderful results in your 10th class. See, let me congratulate all the 10th class students for their wonderful results in the SSC, right? So now let us come to the part what we are going to deal today in this webinar, right? See, let me introduce myself to you all. I'm Sridevi Polu, Principal, TSMS Pudu, Vikarabad. See, we started this journey of webinars in the month of June, right? So when our honorable, respected additional director, sir, gave us a platform to reach you children. See, with the great efforts and I can see that Mrs. Shailaja, Principal Jinnaram she has rendered her valuable services, right, for many months with the help of Mrs. Manjari, Principal. She also rendered her services to make the intermediate second year webinar sessions a successful one. So with that, our additional director, sir, he encouraged us to take this webinars for your intermediate first year also, children. So please watch this webinars and then write down the notes and then read the concept and try to develop the knowledge, right? So each day counts, each minute counts. Okay, see, don't waste your time. Dear children, success is not a destination, it is a journey, right? So let's start our journey. So chemistry is a very easy subject, children. So let me say that. Why I'm telling this to you is, see, in your first year, you are going to study about the atomic structure. Then what is atomic structure? See, whenever you heard this name, you might have remembered about your 10th class. See, you will learn atomic structure in your 10th class also. Yes, of course. So it is an extension what you have read in your 10th class. Then what is atomic structure? What is an atom? An atom is the smallest particle. It is an indivisible particle. Atoms can neither be created nor destroyed. And how the electrons, protons, neutrons are arranged in the atom. And what are the theories which were put forwarded by different scientists? Dalton's atomic theory, J.J. Thomson's atomic model, Rutherford's atomic model, and then Bohr's atomic model. About all these atomic models, you will be learning in the chapter atomic structure, right? So then first I will read all the topics which you are going to learn in your first year, children. See, atomic structure, periodic classification of elements, chemical bonding, states of matter, stoichiometry, thermodynamics, chemical equilibrium, acids and bases, hydrogen and its compounds, S block elements, P block elements, organic chemistry and environmental chemistry. Okay, so now let us go one by one. So the first chapter is atomic structure. So the name itself tells us that it tells about the structure of an atom, how the particles, the subatomic particles are arranged in an atom. So we will be learning about the different atomic models in this. Okay, and then we will move into the electromagnetic radiations, the spectrum, the emission spectrum, absorption spectrum, right? And then hydrogen spectrum. What are the different series which are present in the hydrogen spectrum? And then Bohr's model of an atom. Okay, then quantum mechanics, right? In this, we will be learning about the quantum numbers. How can we find the address of an electron in an atom? By using the quantum numbers, we can find that, isn't it? So the principal quantum number, azimuthal quantum number, magnetic quantum number, and spin quantum number. And then we will be dealing about all the principles, Aufbau principle, Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, About all this, we will be learning in this topic atomic structure. So it tells about the structure of an atom. So atom is a minute particle. It is an indivisible particle. So they cannot be created nor destroyed, right? They are the most stable ones. Okay. So then now the second chapter is classification of elements and the periodicity of properties. So we all know that there are 116 and more elements, right? So how these elements are arranged in the periodic table, we'll be learning in this topic, that is the classification of elements. Then what is the basis for this? So the basis for this is the modern periodic law. The physical and chemical properties of elements or the periodic functions of their electronic configuration, isn't it? Children, here I want to mention you that please try to learn the atomic numbers of elements from hydrogen to zinc, right? From 1 to 30, and try to practice their electronic configuration. Because if we don't know this, then chemistry will be very difficult for you. But so please trust me, chemistry is very easy and you are going to score more and more marks in chemistry. Okay, so then how the elements are divided into different blocks: S block, P block, D block, F block. The basis for this is when the entering of differentiating electron into the s orbital takes place, the elements are classified as s block elements. When the electron enters into the p orbital, p block, d orbital, d block, f orbital, f block, right? If you have good communication skills, if you understand the terminology, then everything is very easy for you children. And then we will be reading about the properties of elements. So based on the properties, the elements are classified into four types. Okay, what are they? Inert gases. The name itself tells us that these elements are inert in nature, means they doesn't participate in chemical reactions very frequently, means xenon participates in reactions. That's why the name from noble gases has been changed to inert gases. What are the inert gas elements? Helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, right? So representative elements, so which represents the entire properties of all elements in the periodic table. They explains the metallic properties, non-metallic properties. Okay. Then D block elements. So the D block elements, they are arranged in four series: 3D, 4D, 5D, and 6D. Each series contains 10 elements each. And then the last one, inner transition elements. As they are kept inside the transition elements, the name inner transition elements. Okay. And then we will be dealing about the periodic properties. Children, you all know about the seasons, isn't it? Now, which season is it? It is the winter season. So earlier to that, we have come across the summer season, rainy season, right? So winter season and then autumn. Like that, the elements with similar properties will be kept in groups and periods. The reoccurrence of elements with similar properties in groups and periods is called as periodicity. About the periodic properties, we are going to learn in this chapter, that is classification of elements: atomic radius, ionic radius, then ionization enthalpy, then electronegativity, electron affinity, oxidation states, metallic nature. Okay, then how does they vary in a group and in a period? About all this, we'll be learning in this chapter, that is the classification of elements in the periodic table. Okay, Nana? Right. So now let us move to the third one, that is chemical bonding. So in chemical bonding, the name itself tells us what is a bond? The force of attraction that binds two atoms or molecules, right, is called as a bond. Then chemical bonding, the bonding which is present in between atoms or ions or molecules is called as a chemical bond. In this chemical bonding, we are going to deal about the ionic bond, covalent bond, coordinate covalent bond, hydrogen bond, and the MOED. That is the molecular orbital energy diagram, molecular orbital theory, then hydrogen bonding. See, how does an ionic bond forms? So by hearing the name of chemical bonding, you might have recalled your 10th class. You have learned in your 10th class also about the ionic bond, covalent bond, coordinate covalent bond, isn't it? So the extension of that we are going to deal in this topic, that is chemical bonding. Okay, so that see from all these three chapters you will get 8 marks questions, right? See children, you are carrying see your first year intermediate chemistry is of 60 marks, right? So from that, you will be getting 3 8 marks questions on when you read these three chapters, that is atomic structure, then periodic classification of elements, chemical bonding, you will be able to get 16 marks out of this, right? So then, now let us move to the fourth topic, that is the states of matter. Then, we all know that matter exists in 3 states, isn't it? What are they? Solids, liquids, and gases, right? So, what is the example for that? See, when you are sitting in the classroom, you will be in the solid state. In the break time, when you are moving, you will be in the liquid state. When you are going to home, you will be in the gaseous state. What is the difference? The arrangement of atoms. The atoms are compactly arranged. They are close to each other in solid state. In liquid state, so they are far away from each other. But whereas in gaseous state, so they move randomly. They are very far away from each other. That is an example for solids, liquids, and gases. And here, in your first year, you are going to learn about the gaseous state, the gas laws. What are the gas laws? Boyle's law, right? See, what does Boyle's law tells us? At constant temperature, the pressure of a gas is inversely proportional to its volume, right? Then Charles' law, for n mass of a gas, right? At constant pressure, the volume is directly proportional to temperature. So we'll be studying about the gas laws, Boyle's law, Charles' law, then Graham's law of diffusion, Dalton's law of partial pressure, right? So Avogadro's law. See, what does Avogadro's law tells us? Equal volumes of all gases contain equal number of molecules, right? So about this gas laws, we will be studying in this chapter states of matter. And then the kinetic gas equation, PV is equal to 1 by 3 ml C square, right? Then how all these gas laws are derived from this kinetic gas equation. Okay, and then we'll be studying about the behavior of real gases. And then coming to the liquefaction of gases, how gases are liquefied, and what are the properties which will change when you convert a solid into a liquid, right? So this is states of matter, a very simple topic. And then from this topic, you will be getting a 4 marks question and also 2 marks question, right? So now let us move to the next chapter, stoichiometry. So what is stoichiometry? Stoichiometry gives the relationship. What relationship? Mass relationship. Mass relationship between the reactants and products. Reactants and products. What are reactants? The chemical substances which participate in the reaction are called as reactants. What are products? The outcome of a reaction is nothing but the products, right? Stoichiometry gives the relationship, mass relationship between the reactants and products, between the reactants and products in a balanced chemical equation. That is called as stoichiometry. Okay, so in this, you will be learning about the laws of chemical combinations, law of conservation of mass, energy is neither created nor destroyed, law of definite proportions, law of multiple proportions, then Galoisac's law of combined volumes, Dalton's atomic theory, Avogadro's number. Yes, Avogadro's number, N. N is equal to 6.023 into 10 power 23. Number of molecules or ions or atoms. Okay. Then coming to the mole concept, right? So this is a very important concept in this chapter, mole concept. So wherever you go, whenever you want to do any problem relating anything, you have to read this concept, that is a mole concept, children. Then the stoichiometric calculations, the empirical formula, molecular formula, and then redox reactions. See, the name itself tells that redox reaction, redox, reduction, ox, oxidation. So a reaction in which both the oxidation and reduction takes place is called as a redox reaction. Okay. So then oxidation number concept, right? So when increase in oxidation number takes place, it is called as oxidation. When decrease in oxidation number takes place, we call it as reduction. Then what are the types of redox reaction? Chemical combination, chemical decomposition. What is decomposition? The process of breaking of a substance, decomposing of a substance to give the smaller particles. Displacement. See, when a metal atom is displaced by another metal atom, we call it as displacement. Disproportionation, comproportionation, right? Then how can we balance these redox reactions, right? So these are all the important topics in this chapter, stoichiometry. Dear children, see, chemistry is divided into three parts generally. So one is the inorganic chemistry part, the other one is the physical chemistry, then the third one is the organic chemistry, the chemistry of carbon and its compounds, right? So now let us move to the next topic, that is thermodynamics. See, thermo, what is thermo? Thermo means heat. Dynamics means movement, isn't it? So it's not static one, thermodynamics. What are the different thermodynamic terms we are going to learn here? Enthalpy. What is enthalpy? The total heat content of a system is called as enthalpy, right? So what is the standard enthalpy? How does it changes? Then what are exothermic reactions? I already told you that thermo means heat, isn't it? Exothermic means when heat is emitted, it is called as exothermic. Isn't it very simple? Yes. Of course, every subject is very easy. See, we are all living in a science, right? We are all living in the world of science. Everything is included in this: mathematics, physics, chemistry, then political science, economics, and commerce. Everything is included in the science where we are living, right? So then coming to the next one, that is standard enthalpy of formation. The name itself tells that the enthalpy, the amount of heat liberated when a compound is formed, it is called as standard enthalpy of formation, right? And then coming to the next one, atomization, right? Sublimation. The best example which you can observe for sublimation is in your home when you light camphor while you are offering prayers before God, right? What happens? That camphor, that solid turns into gas without converting into a liquid. That is called as sublimation. The process of conversion of a solid when heated into a gas is called as sublimation. Okay, then coming to the next one, solution, bond enthalpy of solution. What is a solution? A homogeneous mixture of two or more substances is called as a solution. One is solute, the other one is solvent. Then spontaneity. What is the meaning of spontaneity? How can we give an example for spontaneity, children? See, when a child goes to school without giving any chocolate, right, from her parents, right, that is called as spontaneity. There is no need of giving external energy, supplying external energy. That is called as spontaneity. So gives free energy, right? Then how does it change us? Okay, absolute enthalpy. And then the third law of thermodynamics. So we'll be learning about the first law, second law, and third law of thermodynamics. Okay, right. So then coming to the next chapter, chemical equilibrium and acids and bases. So equilibrium, what is equilibrium? See, I already told you that when reactants combine together, they give products, isn't it? So take the example, A plus B gives rise to C plus D. What are A plus B? A plus B are reactants. C plus D are products, isn't it? When both the forward and backward reactions takes place, then when they proceed towards a dynamic equilibrium, we call this as the chemical equilibrium, right? Then what is homogeneous equilibrium, right? What is heterogeneous equilibrium? What is the relationship between Kp and Kc? What is Kc? Equilibrium constant, right? Then heterogeneous equilibrium. Then the most important Le Chatelier's principle, right? What does Le Chatelier's principle tells us? Le Chatelier principle tells us when a system at equilibrium is subjected to change in temperature, concentration, pressure, then the system itself will adjust such that the stress is nullified. That is called as Le Chatelier principle. Then how does it affects the synthesis of ammonia by Haber's process? And then the preparation of sulfuric acid by contact process. So how does this principle affects these two processes? We'll be learning in this topic, chemical equilibrium. And then another interesting subject, that is acids and bases. What is an acid? So you are very aware of this acids and bases right from your 7th class, isn't it? An acid is a substance which turns blue litmus to red litmus, isn't it? Whatever the food we eat, citric acid, tamarind, all of them contains what? Acid, isn't it? So they are sour to taste. Then coming to base. What is a base? Example for base, your soap, isn't it? Which turns red litmus to blue litmus. Okay. So when an acid reacts with a base, it forms salt and water, isn't it? Then what are the theories which explains the properties of these acids and bases? The most important Arrhenius theory, right? A substance which contains H plus ion and capable of giving H plus ions when ionized in water is called as Arrhenius acid. Arrhenius base, a substance which produces OH minus ions when dissolved in water, is called as Arrhenius base. And then the another theory, Bronsted-Lowry acid base theory. See, what is Bronsted-Lowry acid base theory? And proton donor, a proton donor is called as a Bronsted acid. A proton acceptor is called as a Bronsted base. And then another theory, Lewis acid base theory. An electron pair acceptor, Lewis acid. An electron pair donor, Lewis base. Okay, and then we will be learning about the pH scale. What is pH? Suppose when you go across the geology factor, so you will be seeing about, you will be checking about the acidity of soil. So how do you measure that? By the pH value. What is pH? The negative logarithm of H plus ion concentration is called as pH, right? So here we will be dealing about the pH scale for acids and bases. So it ranges from 0 to 14. 0 to 7 acids, 7 to 14 bases, and 7 neutral. Okay, then common ion effect, then salt hydrolysis, right? What is salt hydrolysis? When the salt hydrolyzes, the cation and anion of the salt reacts with water and forms the cations and anions. That is called as salt hydrolysis. Then please trust me, if you learn the terminology, if you remember the meaning of these words, it is very simple and very easy to write the definitions. Hydrolysis. Hydro means water. Lysis means splitting, breaking. So salt is hydrolyzing. That's it, simple. Okay, buffer solution. So buffer solution. What is a buffer solution? This solution will resist the change in pH even on the addition of small amount of acid or base. So such type of solution is called as a buffer solution. How these buffer solutions are made? So what is the functioning of an acidic buffer and basic buffer, right? And how an acidic buffer is formed? Basic buffer is formed. What is the Henderson's equation, right? About all this, we'll be learning in this chapter, chemical equilibrium and acids and bases. See, I think I'm not see, I'm explaining in brief about the topics what we are going to learn. So please, again, I'm telling you all. So it is a very easy topic. So whenever you feel something is going to be easy, then you'll be you'll be chasing for it, isn't it? So in the inception only, if you think that it is very difficult, then what you will think? No, 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 it's not my cup of tea. I should not go for it, isn't it? So always have a positive mind and a positive attitude so towards reaching the success, isn't it? Okay. So then hydrogen and its compounds. Okay. Then the position of hydrogen in the periodic table. So it is the first element, right? Atomic number 1. So where it is placed? It is placed in the 1A group elements. So why it is placed along with the 1A group elements? Because it contains one electron in its valency shell, isn't it? Then, but it is a gas, whereas the other elements are in the 1A group or the metals. Then why it is placed along with them? What are the similar properties along with the 1A group elements? About this, we are going to deal in this topic, the position of hydrogen in the periodic table. Okay, then coming to the isotopes. What are isotopes? Atoms of the same element. What is it? Atoms of the same element having same atomic number, but different mass number are called as what, Nana? Are called as isotopes. Are called as isotopes. Okay. So then, so I will show you with the help of whiteboard about the isotopes. Okay. So isotopes. So what are isotopes? So isotopes are the atoms of the same element. Let me give the most familiar example, right? Hydrogen, 1, 1. Hydrogen, 1, 2. Hydrogen, 1, 3. Okay, right? So what are all these three? These are all the isotopes. See, you check out what are they commonly having? They are having the atomic number same. So their atomic number is same, 1, 1, 1. Their mass number is different, right? It is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So what are isotopes? Atoms of the same element having same atomic number. What is atomic number? So we write atomic number and we represent it with the letter Z. Okay. Atomic mass is represented by the letter A. Isn't it, Nana? Yes. So what are isotopes? So isotopes are the atoms of the same element having same atomic number but different mass number. Okay. So it is nothing but the non-stoichiometric hydrides and then water. So we will drink gallons of water, isn't it? What does it contains? It contains H2O, right? 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. That's it. But how is it like what is its composition? And then when you replace this hydrogen with deuterium, water, right? The next one is hardness, that is a hardness of water. See, water is having two types of hardness, temporary hardness, permanent hardness. Okay, so the substances which are present in water will give it hardness. A simple logic, the water which gives lather with soap, lather means foam, okay, which gives foam with soap, it's called as like a, it is not a hard water, it is soft water, okay, which doesn't give foam with soap is called as a hard water. Then the chlorides and sulfates which are present in water will give it the hardness, okay. Then we are going to deal how to remove this hardness, temporary hardness and permanent hardness. Okay. Then coming to the next one, hydrogen peroxide. What is hydrogen peroxide? H2O2. What structure it is having? An open book structure. Okay. Then hydrogen as a fuel. We all know that the use of hydrogen as a fuel. Okay, so about all this, we'll be learning in this topic, the hydrogen and its compounds. See, whenever you see the chemistry, you can find lot of industrial applications. The food we eat, the salt we take, right? The water we drink is nothing but the chemistry and the science where we are living around. Okay, then now let us move to the next topic, that is the S block elements, right? I already told you that the periodic classification of elements includes the four blocks: S block, P block, D block, and F block. So in your first year, you are going to learn about the 1A group elements and the 2A group elements. See, what are the 1A group elements? The 1A group elements are hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. Okay, then their periodic properties. What are the periodic properties? Atomic radius, right? Ionization, enthalpy. Okay, then electronegativity, electron affinity. About all these properties, we'll be learning in this chapter, that is a 1A group elements, alkali elements. Simple, alkali means a base, Nana. What is an alkali? Base, right? As their hydroxides are strong bases, they are called as alkali metals. Alkali metals. Okay. Then both the alkali and alkaline earth metals, that is the 1A group and 2A group, are called as S block elements. What are they called as? S block elements, because the valency shell electron, that is a differentiating electron, enters into the S orbital. It enters into the S orbital. Okay, and then we'll be dealing about the biological importance of sodium and potassium. Okay, so now let us move to the next topic, that is the 2A group elements. Alkaline earth elements. What is it? Alkaline earth elements. What are the 2A group elements? Beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium. So all these belongs to the 2A group of the periodic table. Then the plaster of Paris, the very familiar substance where you can see lot of Ganeshas made for Vinayak Chaturthi, right? How they are made up of? They are made up of plaster of Paris, calcium sulfate, half H2O, right? So the gypsum, okay, CaSO4, 2H2O, gypsum. So about all these compounds, we'll learn in this topic, 2A group elements. So then coming to the next one, that is a P block elements. What is it? P block elements. Boron family. Because the elements start with a boron. Boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, and thallium. So they belong to the third group of the periodic table. Why they are kept in the third group? Because they contain 3 electrons in their valency shell. Their valency shell configuration is Ns2 Np1. Okay. So then the next one is 14th group elements. That is a carbon family. Okay. So carbon. So daily from the morning to evening, we will be using many carbon compounds. So the plastic covers, isn't it? See the wires, the PVC wires, the PVC tubes. Okay. The chairs where we are sitting in. Okay. And then the carts, the tables, the mats, everything is made up of the polymers from carbon. What is a polymer? Poly means many. Mer means a simple part, a small molecule. When small molecules combine together, they form a large compound, which is called as a polymer. The name itself. Poly means many. Poly means many. Mer means parts. So when simple molecules join together, combine together, they form a large compound, a giant compound. Giant means what? Big, a big compound. That is called as polymer. See, we will be learning about the allotropes of carbon, okay, uses of carbon, and then the compounds containing carbon and silicon, okay, carbon monoxide, right? See where you can see this carbon monoxide. The carbon monoxide is coming out of the vehicles, motor vehicles, when you travel across, right? When this carbon monoxide combines with a hemoglobin in the blood, what does it forms? It forms carboxy hemoglobin. Okay, so then carbon dioxide, silica, silicates, and zeolites, right? So we'll be dealing about all this in your P block elements. So let me explain you in brief about this. So by taking a whiteboard, okay. So let us see what are these. See, I told you that the 1A group elements, isn't it? See how simple chemistry is, I will tell you, Nana. Okay. So let us see 1A group elements. So what are 1A group elements? Hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and francium. Okay. So why they are placed in 1A group? Because they contain one electron in their valency shell, NS1. Understood now? So 1A group. Now 2A group elements. So 2A group elements. So beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium. Barium and radium. Now, how many electrons do they contain? 2 electrons. They contain 2 electrons in their valency shell. Hence, they are kept in the second group of the periodic table. See how simple is it? Then, the third group, the 3A group. So, what is the family? Boron family. Boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, and thallium. So it is a 3A group. What is the valency shell configuration? NS2, NP1. How many? 2 plus 1? 3. Very simple. Right? 4A group. So carbon, silicon, germanium, tin. Okay, stannum, lead, plumber. Okay. So how many electrons? Yes, you are correct. 4 electrons. Isn't it? NS2, NP2. 2 plus 2, 4. So they are kept in the fourth group of the periodic table, right? About both these blocks. These two belongs to the S block. Which block? S block. Okay, so they belong to the S block, right? S block. And they belong to the P block. Okay, these two groups belongs to the P block of the periodic table because see here, if you carefully observe the valency shell, electron is entering into the P orbital. So they belongs to the P block. Okay, so very easy. S block and P block. Okay, so then now let us move into the next topic what we'll be reading. Okay, so that is our the most important one, the basic of chemistry, organic chemistry. Okay, so it's my favorite topic. I think many students like this. See, it's nothing but replacing the atoms here and there. That's it. Okay, many people will think that it is very difficult, so please don't feel like that. It is very easy and very simple. We are going to learn it and we are going to get more marks on this because the basic of this is in all the competitive examinations like your JEE mains and in your NEET examination, right? So you'll be getting many questions from organic chemistry. All the basic topics you will be learning in your first year and the extension of this you will be learning in second year. Okay, so now in organic chemistry what you are going to learn, I will tell you by taking a whiteboard, Nana. So let us see this. Okay, so then, okay, just 1 minute. Right, so organic chemistry. So I will give you a simple example for this. So you'll be feeling very happy and surprised that it is very simple. Oh, so I thought that it is difficult, but it is not difficult. You will feel like that. Okay, if you give me just 5 minutes of time, I will tell you that how easy it is. Okay, yes. Organic chemistry, the chemistry of carbon and its compounds. Right. So a small example. So I will take the example of methane, marsh gas. What is the composition? What is the formula? CH4, commonly known as marsh gas because it is obtained in dampy places, wet places. Okay, atomic number of carbon 4. Okay, sorry, atomic number of carbon 6. What is its valency? 4. 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. So it contains 4 electrons in the valency shell. How many? 4. So s orbital with 2 electrons and p orbital with 2 electrons, right? Just 1 minute. So it contains 2 electrons in its 2p orbital. Now, this is the ground state, children. In the excited state, an electron from 2s orbital enters into 2p orbital like this. Now, how many unpaired electrons are there? 4. So please remember, it is only the unpaired electrons which participate in the bonding. Okay, it is not the pair of electrons. Now, what hybridization does it undergo? sp3 hybridization. How many orbitals are formed? 4. 1s orbital and 3p orbitals. 1 plus 3, 4. Right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple. Okay. What are these 4? sp3, sp3, sp3. Okay. sp3. Now they will overlap with 4 hydrogen atoms. Hydrogen, hydrogen. Okay. Then hydrogen and another hydrogen. Now, what bonds do they form? sp3s bond. sp3, yes. sp3, yes. sp3, yes. What is the shape of the molecule? Tetrahedral. What is the bond angle? 109 degrees, 28 minutes. And what are the bonds formed, Nana? All are sigma bonds. A bond formed by the linear overlapment is called as a sigma bond. A bond formed by the linear overlapment, head-on overlapment, leads to the formation of a sigma bond. So in organic chemistry, we are going to learn about the topics like hybridization of carbon, then its valency, then the most important one, isomerism, nomenclature. See, methane is having how many carbons? 1 carbon, methane. Ethane is having how many carbons? 2 carbons, ethane. See, propane, how many carbons? 3, prop. See, 1 meth, 2 eth, 3 prop, 4 but, 5 pent, 6 hex, 7 hept, like that. Then isomerism. Iso means same. See, what is isomerism? The compounds which have same molecular formula. What is it? The compounds which have same molecular formula but different physical and chemical properties exhibit isomerism. What do they exhibit, Nana? Isomerism. I will give you a simple example. The isomerism. What is it? Isomerism, right? Iso means same. Iso means same, right? Mer means parts. Okay, see, I will write an example for this. CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. How many carbons? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 carbons, isn't it? How many hydrogens? So 6 plus 4, 10 hydrogens. Okay, what is the formula? C4H10. Okay, then I will write another structure. You just see this. Okay, CH3. Okay, CH, right? CH3 and then CH3. Simple. I told you already that there is nothing to write in organic chemistry. So, not so many pages, but only the atoms replacement, addition and deletion of atoms. Okay. So, carbon and its compounds. There's a hydrocarbons. See here. Now, let us count the carbons, right? How many carbons? 4 carbons. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many hydrogens? 3 3 is 9. 9 plus 1, 10. C4H10. So, what is the molecular formula? The molecular formula is same. The molecular formula is same. But The structure is different. Yes, very good. The structure is different. See, this is N-butane. N means normal. A straight chain, Nana. How is it? It is a straight chain. See, how is this? It is a branched one, isn't it? It is having a single branch. So it is isobutane. What is this? Isobutane. When the second carbon is having a single methyl group, we call this as iso. Or what is the IUPAC name of this? See, I'll tell you the nomenclature also here by taking this. One, two, three, four. Four carbons. So, but. All are single bonds. Ane, butane. Okay. Now, you just see this. See, one, two, three. Three carbons and second carbon is having a single branch. So, we have to pick out the longest carbon chain. What is the longest carbon chain? Prop. Three carbons. Ane, because single bonds, propane. The second carbon is having the methyl group, isn't it? The second carbon is having the methyl group. So what should we write? Yes, very good. 2-methyl propane. Okay, Nana? What is it? 2-methyl propane. So we'll be learning about the nomenclature, isomerism, okay, then about all the intermediates, that is the electrophiles, nucleophiles. So electrophile, electrophilic, electron loving species is an electrophile. Who will love electrons? Who doesn't have electrons? They will love electrons. They will seek for electrons. They will gain for electrons. So such substances are called as electrophiles. Electrophiles, nucleophiles, okay, carbon ions, nucleophiles, a nucleus loving species, an electron rich species is called as a nucleophile. So remember the meaning of the terminology. Electron attracting, electron deficient. Who will attract? Who doesn't have? They will attract. So electrophilic, electron loving species. So electron rich species, nucleophiles. Carbon ions, the name itself tells that they carry a negative charge. Carbon ion. So a carbon atom carrying a negative charge, right? So a species carrying a negative charge on carbon atom. Then carbonium ions, EM. EM means a positively charged. Carbonium ion. Okay. About all this reaction intermediates we will be learning in this topic, that is organic chemistry. And the most important effects, that is inductive effect, electromeric effect. Okay. So and but it's very simple. Say, is it not very easy? So this is N-butane, that is isobutane. This is a straight chain and that is a branched one. So both of them exhibit the structural isomerism, that is a chain isomerism. So they differ in their carbon chain, carbon skeleton. So hence they exhibit chain isomerism. What isomerism, Nana? Chain isomerism. Okay. See, children, we are all putting lot of efforts to reach you during this pandemic, as we are unable to continue the live classes, right, because of various reasons. So try to understand and try to listen to the classes carefully. So we are all having very esteemed and eminent faculty in your schools and colleges. Okay. So now the last topic is environmental chemistry. See, environmental chemistry, the name itself tells us it deals with the environment changes, what are happening. So, because of the pollution, right? So, what are the pollutants which are added to the atmosphere, like soil pollutants, water pollutants, air pollutants? Suppose if you stand at a signal, right? See what happens after some time when you touch your face with your hand. So you will find some dust, right? Black dust. So what is it? It is nothing but the air pollutants. So which are coming from the automobiles, right? Motor vehicles. Okay. So because of all this, the air is polluted. Then water pollution. See water pollution. So we can see many fluorinated areas because of this fluorosis, right? So soil pollution, because of the soil pollution, so a separate vegetable family now again they are farming, like they are giving us organic vegetables because of the soil pollution only, isn't it? We are adding lot of chemicals, lot of pesticides, harmful pesticides, insecticides to the soil. Because of that the soil is polluted. and we are throwing all the garbage like the waste materials, the covers, the pollutants like the waste materials from our homes, the not only the garbages but the polymers like polythene covers, because they are not destroyable, isn't it? So they are causing lot of environmental hazards. I can say that it is the hazard to the human beings. And then coming to the atmospheric pollution. This pollution is of three types. So the gaseous pollution, then air pollution, that is nothing but the air pollution, water pollution, and then soil pollution. And then you will be hearing about the term global warming, isn't it? See, we are many people, many eminent scientists, they are all saying this, like the earth is getting heated, isn't it? See, why it is happening? Because of the effluents which are coming from the factories, coming from the automobiles, motor vehicles, right? Then water pollution, okay, and then the most important, ozone layer, right? So depletion of ozone layer. So you might be observing that ozone layer was depleted. Depleted means having holes. So holes are formed in ozone layer, right? And then what are the strategies to control this environmental pollution? What is the waste management, right? So how to grow trees, right? Like they will reduce the pollution. Then what is a green chemistry? So what is the importance of it in our day-to-day life? So in the dry cleaning of clothes, in the bleaching, in the synthesis of chemicals, about all this, we'll be learning in this topic, that is environmental chemistry. So children, so these are all the topics which we are going to learn in our first year chemistry, right? So once again, I'm telling you all that chemistry is very simple. It is not very difficult task, right? So when you think that everything is easy, please have a positive attitude always, right? If someone gives you a task to do now, you just say that, yes, I'm ready, I will do that. Okay, so I'm going to reach it. That's the positive spirit you should have. So don't think that I can't do this. See, I'm not able to do this. I'm not having capabilities. How can you say that you are not having that? See, are you having any calculation for, or parameters for this abilities or capabilities? No, nothing. It's your mindset. So please make your mindset to achieve success in your life. Okay, and I sincerely express my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to our additional director Sri Satyanarayan Reddy sir for giving me this opportunity and for creating this platform to reach all the students across the state. And I thank all the PGTs of different subjects who extended their support and coordination, who worked for hours together, right? And who have given wonderful webinars in intermediate second year. And I sincerely request everyone to participate like this for the intermediate first year webinars also, and to make this a very successful one. And I sincerely thank Venugopal Reddy sir for giving us all this opportunity and for expressing all our experiences and views with sir and creating this platform. So I thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sridevi ma'am, for the elaborated explanation of overview of syllabus for junior intermediate students.
Thank you, ma'am.
Students have benefited, I hope, and they have come to an understanding of the syllabus and all. So thank you so much once again, and I hope you will continue your explanation like this. Thank you.
Ma'am.
I sincerely thank Additional Director Sir, Joint Director Sir, for launching this channel and providing us with motivation and inspiration. Truly, definitely, we'll strive for the achievement of the goals, objectives set for to achieve. Thank you all. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am.